If you're sick of farming your entire wipe just to keep your furnaces going and your ores smelting, then I have the solution for you. Introducing the fully automatic electric furnace base. This base is all powered by one solar panel and is pretty discreet, so you can hide it pretty much anywhere in the snow. All you need to do for it to work is just to head out with a pickaxe and a hazmat, farm a couple nodes, run back to your base, dump all of your ores into a box, and it will automatically be transferred to the furnaces, which are running 24/7, and that will be pumped back into a different box for you to come back and collect later. Everything you need to build the entire base from start to finish is on screen now. It's super convenient because you can do everything in just one trip. Now, location wise, you can build this base just about anywhere because the footprint is tiny. I'd recommend putting it in the snow, probably deeper in the snow where there's lots of nodes, and probably somewhere hidden. I built it in an open field for demonstration purposes, obviously. Once you put the foundations down, you want to place a single door facing either way. I prefer to the left. Put your walls in, and you can place a door frame in the middle here. Put a roof on, and that's all the twig you're going to need to be placing for now. And upgrade everything to stone. And upgrade that to sheet metal. You'll see why in just a little bit. Now you can put a door on. For your garage door, you want to place it in the socket and make sure it's facing inwards so you can't see the top of the door from the outside. You can put your TC, make sure you face it this way, and put it in that back corner. Don't forget to lock everything. Now we can start placing some of our first deployables. Now these furnaces you want to push all the way against this back wall and lined up with the corner. Doesn't have to be perfect for this first one, doesn't matter too much. Next you want to grab your adapters and put them on before you place the next furnace. This is important because it won't fit otherwise. As you can see, we can just barely fit 3 furnaces in here. And the last adapter will stick through the wall, but that's fine. This box is pretty easy to place, just make sure you have it lined up with that back wall pretty well. And this final box should line up just barely in here. You can put your sleeping bag right here. And you want to put the last 2 storage adapters on these large boxes. Now you can put your small batteries in this little hole in between the boxes and the TC. Now for setting up the power, before we place the solar panel, we need to place an electrical branch right here and set the branch power to 10. You want to take your branch out and put it into the input of one of the batteries. Then you can take the input from the other battery and put it to the power out. Now we're going to go outside to place our solar panel. You want to place a triangle foundation and then half wall like this, just so we can use it later to place our shelf. Now placing your solar panel, make sure you face it the direction the sun moves. You should be getting 20 power. If not, try moving the angle of the solar panel. Make sure it's facing the sun. Also, if it's morning or sunset, it won't give you full power, so just make sure none of those is going on. If you're getting 20 power, then you're good to go. I'm going to bring that cable down to this corner right here, and you can drop down back into your base. I try to keep my cables organized, so I'm going to go put it in this corner and bring it up to the power in of this electrical branch. With that done, each battery should be getting 9 and 10 respectively power going into them. As you can see, just check it, make sure it's all working. And that's the hardest part of the electrical done, honestly. It's very simple. The piping's slightly more complicated, but I'm going to walk you through every step of it. You're going to place 2 conveyors next to each other right here. On top of one of them, you want to place the branch and the reconnector. And you can go ahead and just place your other branch right here. Now all of our deployables are down. We can focus on just the wiring. You're going to place your pipe tool. I'm going to use blue for the input and red for the output. So basically any pipe that is blue means it's going to be going into the furnaces coming from this box, and anything red will be going into that box. Should be pretty simple, you'll see as we go along. So you want to take the industrial out and feed that into this first input right here. So this will take the items from that first box and convey it into the furnaces. So we want to filter any ore. So that means only these 3 items will be dragged out of that box and moved to the furnaces. Now we can take a pipe from the output and put it into the industrial splitter. This will take our items and evenly sort them 3 different directions, so each furnace can have an equal amount of ore in it. So again, I'm going to wire it into the input of this first furnace, just like that. And we can basically repeat the same step for the next 2, instead going to this industrial out and bringing it to our second furnace input. Same thing for the third one. And now everything will be evenly distributed to the furnaces. So a quick overview if you still don't understand: everything goes from that box through the conveyor into this splitter, and it splits it into these 3 furnaces. Super simple circuit. But basically we're going to do the opposite way around for the rest of the circuit. So it's going to go from the 3 furnaces here into this combiner, and then through the filter to pump it, and it will all go back to this depot box right there. So we're basically going to connect the same piping we just did, but go backwards. And there sometimes tends to be issues with the way this lines up here. So just try it a couple times. And then feed it into here. We're going to do the same thing backwards. Again, I'm still having the same issue. I'm not exactly sure what the problem is, but it's nothing bad. You're just going to have to try it a few times. And put that into the out of that second furnace. I did find that slightly going out and making sure you clear the wall makes it a little bit less finicky, but that's not 100%. Now that that's done, all of our cooked ore is now all in this industrial out. And to actually move the items, we need to move it into the filter here. Now you want to take the industrial out and move that to the large box. With that, all of our piping is complete. Now the second circuit, everything in red, of course it starts from this furnace, is then pumped through the wires into this combiner, which then moves it through this pump, and finally moves the rest of the items into this large box where all of your cooked ore will be. I'm going to use blue colored wire for the rest of the circuits. Now for the battery, what we need to do is use enough out of each battery where they should continue running throughout the entire night. So we're not going to use all 9 and 10 power. We start with the battery that has 10 power in it. And we're going to put the power output into the input of this first pump. The pumps only use 1 power, so it's not too much. Then we're going to take the electrical pass-through and put it to the other pump. And then finally take the pass-through again. And we're going to put it into just this first furnace here. Now for the second battery, we're going to put the output right into the electrical branch. And then set the branch power off to 3. And then this first output can go to this furnace here. And the other output can go to the third furnace. Now the reason we split up the batteries in between the 3 furnaces is because we don't want to use all of the power on each of the batteries, so they have some extra juice for nighttime. Don't forget to turn on your pumps. And then you can go ahead and turn your furnaces on. Now with that, all of the electrical and the wiring is done. So we're going to go ahead and finish up the rest of the base. Start by heading outside and placing this half-height triangle right here, just so we can put in the shelf. If you've built it correctly, you should be able to fit this shelf here. Go ahead and break this twig. And you can place your large boxes as I do here. These boxes can just be used as miscellaneous storage for extra kits or tools to farm. It is important to keep in mind that if you place that box down here not perfectly, it will stick through a little bit. And this box in the top left will stick through no matter what, just because you place the garage door facing inwards. It is a valid trade-off because you do not want that garage door sticking out, because you will be able to see it in this corner, and that will make it a very high priority target to raid. Now let's say you just came back from a big farm run and you have a couple rows of farm. As you can see here, just a bunch of ore. You can just dump it straight into this box here, and right away it will start sucking it out of this box and putting it into the furnaces. And you can see it's already in there, smelting away. And then after a few seconds, once it's done cooking, it will already be moved into this box here. Fully automatic, you don't need to do anything. Just put your ore in there and let it run. The one thing I want to mention is it's important that you don't keep too many ores in here, just because the base is only 4 rockets to raid. And being in the snow and having a solar panel, there's a chance that people will raid it. A very high likelihood that people will raid it. So just make sure not to keep too much in here at any given time. I recommend obviously building this pretty far away from your main base. If you don't plan on living in the snow, it's super convenient to have it just to spawn in and farm. Coming in on the outside, it's almost impossible to hear anything on the inside, but if you do listen carefully, you might be able to hear something, so just keep that in mind. The solar panel does make it pretty obvious that there is some electricity inside. Finally, I wouldn't recommend upgrading this to sheet metal or putting honeycomb or more doors or anything like that, just because it makes it more of a raid target at that point, and I think it increases the likelihood of it getting raided more than anything. But with that, the base is complete. I hope you guys found this helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section, and I will see you guys in the next video.